Hi, I'm Anna. It's summer, which basically means I've been living the hermit life. A lot of book reading. Some books I've fallen in love with, some I've struggled to finish. I always feel the need to finish a book, even if I'm like, this book actually sucks. I just kind of like keep reading and try to suffer through it. I wanted to help you avoid that fate and give you a rundown on a couple of books that I've really fallen in love with this summer. First up, The Anatomist's Wife. I've already returned the book to my local library, so I don't have it as a prop. I stumbled upon this book at my local library. It's a Regency murder mystery, which means late 1800s. And it's about a widow who is staying at her sister's manor when one of the guests at the dinner party just shows up dead. I couldn't put this book down, it was that good. It was just such a page turner. I wasn't even sure why I was so enamored with it. It's not overly lyrical. The Anatomist's Wife is realistic fiction, so it doesn't have a clever magic system, which I really enjoy reading about. What it does have is a fast-paced plot and a really well-done character development. The author makes use of the narrator's artistic eye to really fully flesh out her surroundings, which is just a real pleasure to read. And at the end of the novel, it kind of makes sense. And you always want murder mysteries at the very end to click. I feel like she fleshed out the characters so well, it was really interesting to learn about everyone's backstory and motives and relationships. There's a romantic subplot, but it pretty much stays in like the subplot realm, which is good. I didn't want this author to take a murder mystery and use that merely as a vehicle to drive some romantic subplot. Go read it, it's amazing. Next, Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is another book I just stumbled upon in my local library. It's a very pretty blue cover. It's about two girls taken in by their aunts who may or may not be witches and may or may not practice magic at twilight. But this novel really isn't about magic, it's more about relationships between mothers and daughters and sisters. The novel is very stylistic, it almost reminded me of a fairy tale the way the author was writing. It's not really my cup of tea stylistically, but it was well done, so even though I wasn't like really enjoying the manner in which it was written, it was really interesting to read. Let me just read you what I mean by stylistically, because that's such a vague word. Middle of the book, don't worry, I'm not gonna give away the plot. It's not incredibly plot driven, more like character driven. If a woman is in trouble, she should always wear blue for protection. Blue shoes or a blue dress, a sweater the color of a robin's egg, or a scarf the shade of heaven. A thin satin ribbon carefully threaded through the white lace hem of a slip. Any of these will do. Next, Silent in Their Grave by Raybourn. I've heard about this book through one of those websites where you type in a book you really like and they tell you what books you should read next. It's like whatshouldireadnext.com. It's very straightforward. I was still obsessed with The Anatomist's Wife. I was like, well, I should look for other books like it. The website generated this title. I'm glad they did because I really enjoyed this book. It's also a Regency murder mystery, so this one's a bit later, like really late 1800s. But it's quite different from The Anatomist's Wife. Let me just read you the first sentence to give you an idea. The narrator has such a striking personality I enjoy. To say that I met Nicholas Brisbane over my husband's dead body is not entirely accurate. Edward, it should be noted, was still twitching upon the floor. Made me laugh when I first read it. It's probably not supposed to be tremendously humorous, but I love how it gives you this like really vivid insight into the narrator's mind. That's not to say she's this callous person without any feeling. She has feeling. There were a lot of really well-defined personalities in this book, which is really fun to just sit back and watch them play off each other. But unlike Practical Magic, while it did have some like really strong characters, it was also very much plot-driven, which I really like. So the plot was very fast-paced. It's a murder mystery about her husband who, spoiler alert from the first sentence, dies at her feet. There's a lot of twists and turns, but not so much to obscure the plotline, just enough to keep things really interesting. It made me laugh out loud a couple times, which is always a good mark of a book, if it can make you just burst out laughing in the middle of nowhere. I read it in a couple days, I couldn't put it down, and I can't wait to go get the sequel from my library. I'm kind of putting it off, so I don't just sit here and read the entire series as quick as possible. And now for the very last one. It is Conservation of Shadows by Yoon Lee. It's a short story, sci-fi short story collection, so very different from the other ones I've just briefly talked about. I don't read mini short stories and I wanted to fix that, so when I stumbled upon this in my library and it has a beautiful cover, I was like, Conservation of Shadows, that sounds vaguely like physics, and I just got a physics degree, so I kind of am in love with all things physics. Don't get turned off if you think I'm not a science person, because no science background is required. These stories are just packed full of inventive ideas. Like, these lines which are like throwaway lines, those ideas could be taken and you could write entire novels. Carnivorous ship and shadows that fold in on themselves, rewiring someone's mind without them knowing because they're a political enemy, like they have so much promise. It's mind-blowing. I can't even explain it. I'm so bad with words, but this person isn't. Let me just read you the first sentence to try and give you an idea of what I mean by inventive. Stories are kind of short, it's a couple pages up to like 20 pages. So the first line from the first short story. It is not true that death cannot be folded. Square becomes kite, becomes swan, history becomes rumor, becomes song, even the act of remembrance increases the truth. What the paper folding diagrams fail to mention is that each fold enacts itself upon the secret marrow of your ethics, the axiom of your thoughts. Whether or not this is the most important thing the diagram fails to mention is a matter of opinion. You like sci-fi short stories? Make sure to check this one out. And that's it. 4 books that you really need to go check out if you like plot-driven books. And if you're more into character studies and books about relationships, make sure to check out Practical Magic. And if you are a sci-fi or fantasy fan or even a short story fan, check Conservation of Shadows out. You will not regret it. So if I've convinced you to try one of these books, let me know, because I don't think I've ever been successful in getting someone to read a book. Part of the fun about finding a new book is coercing everybody you know into reading it, just to see what they think and how they react. And I've just never been successful at that. I don't think I've convinced anyone to read a book ever. Okay, bye!